Most people spend their whole lives walking across ground that's hiding something extraordinary. And no, we're not talking about buried treasure from a pirate movie. We're talking about real gemstones, the kind that end up in rings, museums, and very smug conversations at dinner parties. Turns out, the United States is sitting on an almost absurd amount of geological wealth, and some of it is right beneath the dirt in people's own backyard. So today, we're looking at 12 states where gems are found in backyards. State 12, Arkansas, the Diamond State. That actually means it. Arkansas is the only state in the country where the phrase, dig for diamonds, is not a metaphor, not a tourism gimmick, and not something that ends in disappointment. It's just true. Crater of Diamonds State Park in Murfreesboro sits on top of an ancient volcanic pipe, a kimberlite formation, the same kind of geological structure that produces diamonds in South Africa and Russia. The difference here is that anyone can show up, rent a sieve, dig in the dirt, and legally keep whatever they find. No mining company, no corporate claim, just you, a bucket, and potentially a diamond. Since the site was first discovered in 1906, more than 100,000 diamonds have been pulled from that field. The largest, found in 1924, was called the Uncle Sam. It weighed 40.23 carats and remains the largest diamond ever found by a member of the public in the United States. People have found diamonds here while it was raining. They found them after a plow turned over fresh earth. A woman named Shirley Strawn found an 8.62 carat diamond in 1990 called the Amarillo Starlight. Kids have stumbled across them on school field trips. Arkansas also designated the quartz crystal as its official state mineral in 1967. In the Ouachita Mountains, quartz crystals are so common they're sometimes called Arkansas diamonds, which is a bit ironic given that the state also has actual diamonds. But the quartz formations found here are no joke either. Some of these crystals grow in clusters that look like something out of a geology textbook, and amateur collectors haul them out of the ground regularly. The quartz crystals from the Ouachita Mountains are also exported in significant quantities. Arkansas is one of the few places in the world where natural quartz of sufficient quality is mined for scientific instruments and electronic applications. The geology of that state is frankly overperforming. If you live in Arkansas and you haven't poked around your backyard with a little curiosity, honestly, what are you doing? State 11, North Carolina, where the mountains are hiding a jewelry store. North Carolina is the kind of state where you can walk into the hills and come back with something that belongs in a glass case. More than 300 minerals have been identified in North Carolina, more than any other state in the country. That's not a small distinction. The state's official gemstone is the emerald, and that designation isn't decorative. Real emeralds have been found in North Carolina, specifically around the town of Hidnite in Alexander County and near Spruce Pine in Mitchell County. The largest emerald ever recovered there weighed 1,438 carats in the rough. In 1970, a gem known as the Carolina Emerald was found at Hidnite, later cut to 13.14 carats and valued at $100,000 at the time. Tiffany and Company of New York currently owns it. The mineral-rich belt running through the Blue Ridge Mountains yields emeralds, rubies, sapphires, aquamarine, garnet, moonstone, topaz, tourmaline, citron, and smoky quartz. Franklin, North Carolina, a town with a population of just a few thousand, has become something of a pilgrimage site for rockhounds, precisely because the variety of gems in that area is almost unreasonable. Most people are surprised to hear that rubies, sapphires, and emeralds have been found in North Carolina. Geology.com, noted in a widely read overview of the state's gem resources. They are even more surprised when they learn that there are about a dozen locations in North Carolina where anyone can look for gemstones and keep anything that they find. Some of these sites offer bucket mining, where you pay a small fee and sift through preloaded material. Others let you dig in actual mine cuts. The odds of finding something significant aren't guaranteed. That part they'll tell you up front. But the geological reality is that the material is there. People report emeralds worth thousands of dollars found in the rough. North Carolina also holds the distinction of being the site of the first documented gold discovery in the United States. In 1799, a 12-year-old named Conrad Reed found a 17-pound gold nugget in Little Meadow Creek on his family's farm in Cabarrus County. Gold was officially designated the state mineral in 2011. The state even operated a U.S. Mint branch in Charlotte for part of the 1800s. So if you live in western North Carolina and your backyard backs up to a hillside, there's a non-zero chance of something interesting under there. State 10, Montana, sapphires, and a cigar box that started everything. Montana's state gemstone is the sapphire, and for good reason. More gem-quality sapphires are produced in Montana than anywhere else in North America. Sapphires were first discovered in the state in 1865 in alluvium along the Missouri River. But the real story, the one worth telling, starts with a rancher and a cigar box. In 1895, a man named Jake Hoover was panning for gold along Yogo Creek in the Little Belt Mountains in central Montana. He kept finding these blue pebbles mixed in with his concentrates. He didn't know what they were, and they were getting in the way of his gold operation. Eventually, he collected a cigar box full of them and mailed them to Tiffany & Company in New York to find out if they were worth anything. Tiffany sent back a check and a message: "Send more." Those blue pebbles were sapphires, what would come to be known as Yogo sapphires. They are found exclusively in Yogo Gulch, part of the Little Belt Mountains in Judith Basin County, and they are unlike almost any other sapphire in the world. The United States Geological Survey and gem experts have called them among the world's finest sapphires. Their cornflower blue color comes from trace amounts of iron and titanium, and this is the remarkable part: they require no heat treatment to enhance their color. Nearly every other sapphire on the market is heat treated. Yogos go from ground to gem without chemical alteration. It's estimated that at least 28 million carats of Yogo sapphires are still in the ground. The problem is that the deposit sits in a nearly vertical igneous dike, which makes large-scale commercial mining extremely difficult and rarely profitable. Montana sapphires also occur in alluvial deposits across the western part of the state. Near Phillipsburg, the Rock Creek site is the most productive location, and some operations there allow the public to sieve concentrates and keep what they find. The sapphires from Rock Creek come in a wider range of colors: pale green, blue, yellow, purple, and pink. Jewelry containing Yogo sapphires was given to First Ladies Florence Harding and Bess Truman. Several Yogo sapphires are part of the Smithsonian Institution's gemstone collection, including one over 10 carats. Montana takes its gemstones seriously, and the ground there has the receipts to prove it. State 9, New York. The diamonds that aren't diamonds, but kind of are. New York doesn't immediately come to mind when you think about gem hunting. Manhattan, sure. The Hudson Valley, maybe. But diamonds, that's a harder sell until you learn about Herkimer diamonds. Herkimer diamonds are not actually diamonds. Let's get that out of the way immediately. They are double-terminated quartz crystals, meaning they have natural points on both ends. Found in and around Herkimer County in upstate New York, they were designated the official state mineral of New York in 2012. And while they aren't carbon diamonds, they are hard, scoring 7 on the Mohs hardness scale. Exceptionally clear and naturally faceted with 18 faces. The fact that they look like cut diamonds is not a stretch. They formed over 500 million years ago when the Mohawk Valley region was covered by a shallow sea. Silica-rich fluid seeped into cavities within dolostone, a type of carbonate rock, and slowly crystallized over geologic time. What results are these perfectly shaped, glassy crystals that tumble out of cracked rock, looking like someone already polished them. The Mohawk people were among the first to collect them from stream sediments and plowed fields. Early settlers turned them up regularly. It wasn't until workmen were cutting into the Mohawk Valley dolomite in the late 18th century that European settlers recognized them in large quantities and gave them the Herkimer name. Herks, as collectors call them, sometimes contain inclusions of anthraxolite, a black organic material, or fluid inclusions of water or petroleum trapped inside. The rarest contain both. Large, clear specimens are genuinely prized by collectors. Several commercial mines along State Route 28 in Herkimer County allow visitors to dig for a fee and keep whatever they find. There are also natural outcrops on public land in the region where collectors have turned up specimens for generations. New York also has almandine garnet, the state gem found in the Adirondacks. So while New York isn't Arkansas, it holds its own when it comes to what's buried in its ground. State 8, Virginia, the fairy stones that belong in a folk tale. Virginia has a gem story that sounds made up, and yet here we are. In Patrick County, in the Blue Ridge foothills, there are cross-shaped stones lying on the surface of the earth. They're called fairy stones, and the legend that grew up around them says they are the crystallized tears of fairies who wept when they heard of Christ's death. That's the local lore anyway. George F. Coons, a noted mineralogist in the early 20th century, documented this Virginia legend specifically. The geological truth is nearly as strange. These stones are starrolite, a metamorphic mineral composed of iron, aluminum, and silicate. What makes starrolite remarkable is that its crystals naturally twin, meaning two crystals intergrow at specific angles, sometimes at 60 degrees to form a St. Andrew's cross, sometimes at 90 degrees to form a Roman or Maltese cross. You don't carve them, you don't shape them, they grow that way. Interpretive Park Ranger Danny Martin, who works at Fairystone State Park, put it simply, they were formed about 7 miles beneath the surface of the earth, and the pressures, temperatures, combinations, and just the right amounts of silica, iron, and aluminum, that heat and pressure caused them to crystallize. As the Appalachian Mountains formed and the surrounding rock eroded away over hundreds of millions of years, the harder starrolite crystals were left exposed on the surface. Today at Fairystone State Park in Stuart, Virginia, you can walk to the designated search area, dig with your hands, and keep whatever you find. No tools, just hands. It's genuinely one of the more unusual collecting experiences in the country. Not because of the monetary value, but because you're picking up something that looks like it was shaped by a craftsman and was actually made by the earth itself. Virginia is also well known for its amazonite, a vivid blue-green variety of feldspar found in Amelia County. The Rutherford mines in Amelia Courthouse were primarily mined for gem-quality amazonite between 1912 and 1959. Over 50 mineral species were identified at that location. State 7, Idaho, the gem. State that earned the name. Idaho isn't called the Gem State because someone thought it sounded nice on a license plate. Idaho has one of the most diverse mineral records in the country, and the nickname came from the actual geology. The official state gemstone of Idaho is the star garnet, and it's a genuinely rare stone. Star garnets, garnets that display a 4 or 6 rayed asterism, a star effect caused by light reflecting off needle-like inclusions, are found in only 2 places on Earth in significant quantities: the Emerald Creek area in the Benua County of northern Idaho and India. That's it. The 6-rayed star garnet is found almost exclusively in Idaho. The Forest Service manages the Emerald Creek Garnet area, which is open to the public seasonally. Visitors pay a fee, dig in designated gravel beds, and keep what they find. Most garnets recovered are small, but the asterism effect when they're cut and polished, and cabochon, is unmistakable. Beyond star garnets, Idaho has a geological profile that reads like an inventory. Opals, rubies, sapphires, agates, jasper, topaz, tourmaline, and even diamonds have been reported. In Adams County near New Meadows, rubies, pink garnets, sapphires, and corundum crystals have been found at Rock Flat. The Idaho Department of Lands maintains gemstone records by county, and the list is long. Nearly every county has something worth digging for. Opals have also been found across Idaho, particularly opalized wood, where ancient buried trees were gradually replaced with opal material over millions of years. Pieces of this material, when sliced and polished, display the play of color that makes opal so distinctive. The sheer breadth of what Idaho produces geologically puts it in a category of its own. It's not a state where you hope to stumble across something. It's a state where the rock hounding community has mapped out what grows where, and the list is extensive. State 6, Oregon, sunstones in the desert. Oregon's official state gemstone is the Oregon Sunstone, and it's one of the more distinctive gems produced anywhere in the United States. Sunstones are a variety of feldspar, labradorite specifically, and the ones from Oregon are unique because they contain tiny copper platelets suspended within the crystal. Those platelets create an effect called aventurescence, where the stone seems to glow or shimmer from within. Oregon sunstones come in a range of colors: clear, pale yellow, pink, red, and a rare green. Some display pleochroism, showing different colors depending on the angle. Red and bicolor specimens can command significant prices in the gem market. The primary deposit is in Harney County in southeastern Oregon. The Bureau of Land Management manages a public collecting area there, which means that with the right permits and tools, anyone can go dig for sunstones on federal land and keep what they find. Oregon is also a major source of thunder eggs, the state's official rock since 1965. Thunder eggs are nodules of volcanic origin, and they look completely unremarkable on the outside, rough, brownish, and lumpy. Cut them in half, and the interior reveals agate, chalcedony, jasper, or occasionally opal formations. The area around Prineville in Crook County is particularly well known for thunder egg sites. The Oregon coast offers beach agates, translucent, water-polished stones in shades of red, orange, yellow, and green that wash up continuously from ancient rock formations. Collectors walk the beaches after storms and fill their pockets. It's one of the more casual forms of gem hunting. No tools, no permit, just good timing and knowing what you're looking at. Oregon's eastern desert regions also yield jasper, Biggs jasper and Owyhee jasper specifically, which, when cut and polished, display complex landscape-like patterns that collectors prize for cabochons and slabs. State 5, Georgia, quartz, garnets, and the Appalachian Edge. Georgia doesn't usually make the top of the gem state lists, but it probably should be mentioned more than it is. The official state gemstone of Georgia is quartz crystal. That might sound underwhelming until you're looking at a 6-inch clear quartz crystal that came out of the Georgia hills. Quartz in Georgia occurs in a variety of forms: clear, milky, rose, and smoky, and some localities produce very large, well-formed specimens. Georgia's position at the southern end of the Appalachian Mountains puts it in direct geological relationship with North Carolina's Gem Belt. The same rock formations extend southward, and garnets, amethyst, kyanite, and staurolite are all found in the northern counties. Fannin County in northern Georgia is specifically noted as a location for staurolite, the same cross-shaped mineral found in Virginia's Ferrystone State Park. Jackson's Crossroads in Wilkes County was historically known as an amethyst-producing locality, though access to the site changed over the years. The amethyst crystals from that area were described as some of the finest produced in North America during their peak. The Dahlonega area in Lumpkin County is historically significant for a different reason. It was the site of America's first major gold rush in 1828, well before California. A branch of the United States Mint operated in Dahlonega from 1838 to 1861. Gold is still found in creek beds and hillsides in northern Georgia by weekend prospectors. Georgia's geology is tied directly to the Appalachian orogeny, the ancient mountain-building event that created the whole spine of the eastern mountain chain. And that process left behind mineral deposits across the northern quarter of the state. State 4, Michigan, Copper Country and the Stones of Superior. Michigan is not the first name that comes up in gem discussions, but it produces something that is geologically almost without parallel, native copper. And not just flakes or dust. Massive chunks of pure metallic copper that require no smelting, found in the bedrock of the Upper Peninsula. The Keweenaw Peninsula in Michigan's Upper Peninsula sits on one of the largest deposits of native copper in the world. Native copper, meaning copper that exists in its pure metallic form rather than bound in ore, is itself considered a mineral specimen of significant value. And Michigan's versions are among the largest ever recorded. Pieces weighing hundreds of pounds have been pulled from the ground there. The Smithsonian houses several Michigan copper specimens. Michigan is also famous for its Petoskey stones, the official state stone since 1965. Petoskey stones are fossilized coral, Hexagonaria percarinata, from the Devonian period, roughly 350 million years ago. When wet or polished, the characteristic hexagonal pattern of the ancient coral becomes clearly visible, a honeycomb-like structure that is immediately recognizable. They're found along the beaches of Lake Michigan and Lake Huron, particularly in the northwest part of the lower peninsula around Petoskey. People find them by walking the shoreline, especially after a storm turns over fresh material from the lake bed. No permits, no fees, just a walk on the beach and a sharp eye. Michigan's Upper Peninsula also yields chloroastrolite, the state gem since 1973, also called greenstone or Isle Royale greenstone. This rare mineral forms the distinctive turtleback pattern of dark green with lighter veins, and it's found almost exclusively along the shores of Lake Superior and on Isle Royale. It's an uncommon gem even within its limited range, but collectors who know what they're looking for find specimens. The copper-bearing bricks from old Michigan smelters, where molten copper dripped into floor bricks over decades, have even become collector pieces themselves, polished and sold as unique specimens. That's the kind of state Michigan is. Even the old industrial waste turns collectible. State 3, Vermont, Grossular garnet in the Green Mountain State. Vermont's official state gemstone is the Grossular garnet, and it's appropriate because Vermont sits on some of the most garnet-rich metamorphic terrain in the eastern United States. Garnets are found across approximately 21 states in the country, but the variety and quality in Vermont's schist-bearing geology is notable. The state's Green Mountains are composed largely of metamorphic rock, schist, gneiss, and quartzite that formed under the same ancient tectonic pressures that built the Appalachian chain. Garnets crystallize within these rocks during metamorphism, And in Vermont, they surface in road cuts, stream beds, and, yes, in some backyards, particularly in areas where glacial activity dragged garnet-rich material across the landscape. Vermont's state mineral is talc, which is a mineral reality. The state produces talc commercially from Ludlow, but the garnets are what gem collectors come for. They appear in shades ranging from deep burgundy to orange-red, and some specimens are large enough and clear enough to facet. Vermont is also part of the Greater New England Mineral Belt. Across New England, the metamorphic terrain produces beryl, tourmaline, feldspar, and quartz in pegmatite formations, pockets of coarse-grained rock where crystals grow slowly to unusual size. Maine, just to the east, is famous for its tourmaline and beryl-producing pegmatites, and Vermont shares geological continuity with those formations. The state's glacial history is also relevant. The last ice age moved enormous quantities of rock across Vermont, depositing material from one location to another. Glacial till, the mixed, unsorted debris left behind, can contain garnet crystals transported from their original bedrock source. In some parts of Vermont, you can dig into glacial deposits and find garnet crystals that traveled miles over tens of thousands of years. It's a quiet, understated kind of gem hunting, very on brand for Vermont. State 2, Texas, blue topaz, and petrified wood in the Lone Star Ground. Texas is big enough to have its own geological variety, and it does not disappoint in that regard. The official state gemstone of Texas is blue topaz. Topaz, and specifically the blue variety, occurs in the Llano Uplift region of central Texas, a geological formation in Mason, Llano, and Gillespie counties, where ancient Precambrian granite has been exposed at the surface. The topaz crystals there are found in cavities within the granite, and while they're mostly small, they're genuine topaz, the same mineral that produces the precious blue gems used in jewelry. Mason County has become synonymous with Texas topaz hunting. There are fee dig operations in the area, some on private land with owner permission required. The Mason County region is also rich in lignite, a local granite containing blue quartz phenocrysts that is found nowhere else on Earth. Slabs of lignite, polished, show the bright blue quartz crystals against the pink and black granite matrix. Petrified wood is the state rock of Texas, and it's found across a wide swath of the state. Ancient forests, buried under volcanic ash and sediment, were slowly replaced by silica over millions of years. In East Texas and along certain creek beds, large chunks of petrified wood turn up regularly, entire logs sometimes, with the original grain structure preserved in stone. The Texas coast and inland areas also yield agates, jasper, and various quartz forms. Agate can be found along the Pecos River drainage and in the Big Bend region in the far west. Fire agate, a rare variety showing vivid iridescent colors caused by thin layers of iron oxide, has been found in the Trans-Pecos area as well. Texas doesn't have the concentrated gem-rich geology of North Carolina or Montana, but for a state of its size, the variety of what's in the ground is genuinely impressive. State 1, New Jersey, where dozens of rare minerals were first named. New Jersey might be the last state you'd expect to close out a list like this, but hear it out. New Jersey has one of the most remarkable mineral records of any state on the eastern seaboard, and a significant part of that record comes from a single district, the Franklin-Ogdensburg area in Sussex County, known as the Zinc District or the Franklin Furnace area. The zinc mines at Franklin and Sterling Hill produced over 350 distinct mineral species. Dozens of minerals were first described and named from specimens found here, meaning they were entirely unknown to science until they came out of New Jersey's ground. The fluorescent mineral assemblage at Franklin is considered one of the most spectacular in the world. Under ultraviolet light, The rocks glow in vivid green, red, and orange. It is a legitimate geological wonder in a state that most people associate with the Turnpike. Southern New Jersey is also famous for gem-quality amber found in Burlington County. The amber there is found in ancient Cretaceous age deposits, the same period that produced the amber popularized in discussions of fossil preservation. The amber from New Jersey has yielded preserved insects and plant material in specimens studied by scientists. And then there are Cape May diamonds, not actual diamonds, but quartz crystals, naturally water-tumbled and polished by centuries of wave action, that wash up on the beaches of Cape May at the southern tip of the state. They're found regularly by beachcombers, clear and glassy, looking much like cut gemstones at first glance. They're essentially nature's version of a polished stone. New Jersey is one of the best states in the entire U.S. for rockhounding, notes rockhound resource sites that track collecting locations nationally. Dozens of rare minerals were first identified in New Jersey, and to this day, some of them can only be found here. That distinction belongs to very few places on Earth, let alone on a list about backyard gem finds in the United States. So there you have it, 12 states where what's hiding under your feet is considerably more interesting than what's sitting on the surface. From diamonds in Arkansas to fairy crosses in Virginia, sapphires in Montana, and fluorescent minerals glowing under black lights in New Jersey. The United States is, geologically speaking, one of the most varied countries on the planet, and not nearly enough people think about that when they're out mowing the lawn. If this video gave you an itch to go digging, good. Do your research, check land ownership rules before you start turning over anything, and get proper information about public land access in your state. The Bureau of Land Management allows personal use collecting on most BLM land, and fee-dig sites exist in nearly every state on this list. If you found this interesting, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. There's a lot more ground to cover, literally